So now, after examining and demonstrating in uninformed search strategies like breadth first and depth first and their variations, now we are going to look at the informed strategy A star. Informed means it makes use of some more information about the problem which is not part of the basic problem solving methodology, or it's not a search strategy by itself, the information that we use. But once we have some such information, once we have some heuristic to estimate the path distance from a potential goal in the search space, then using that estimate how to search, that strategy is known. So the strategy A star is an algorithm, or you can call it a meta heuristic. That means it makes use of some heuristic which may not be obtained, which cannot be obtained by the algorithm itself. It cannot be obtained by the A star algorithm, but some more considerations, more we can say worldly knowledge of the problem, and that's why it is heuristic. It is also not certain to find an answer in the way we want, or probably it may be still certain to find the answer, but the kind of answer or the quality of the answer and whatever we are seeking, all the guarantees may not be there. So that is also a reason we call it a heuristic strategy. But it makes use of a heuristic. The strategy itself is not heuristic. The strategy, that is the search process, will be deterministic once the heuristic is fixed. But the outcome is not determined. It depends very much on the heuristic, its success, and also the particular instance of the problem. That is, in different instances of the same problem, different situations, the heuristic may or may not work well. So that is not certain, that is not guaranteed, that is not deterministic. But once the heuristic estimate, the way to calculate that heuristic estimate of distances from the goal is in place, then the strategy works in a deterministic way, applying that heuristic. So here is the code of that in Lisp. So it again takes initial state, goal state, maximum depth as the parameters, the usual parameters, and then it also takes a heuristic function as a parameter. Here we are passing a function as a parameter. So by now I think everyone doing any coding, any professional development of software must have come across different functional paradigms. At least Python you must be familiar with. So passing functions around as parameters is not a big deal anymore. So I am not going to dwell on it much. But we just pass one heuristic function or a handle to a heuristic function as a parameter here to the A star algorithm. So that is in line number 464. You can see how the parameters are sequenced. Initially the fringe is initialized and the initial state with the application of the heuristic estimate, so that each state and the node that is created from the state goes with that parameter. These calculations are done in the beginning up to line number 476, and then comes the usual while loop. So the while loop, as long as the fringe is not null, that means there is still something to search from. The search space itself has not been exhausted, or rather, and the depth is still less than the maximum depth that we have given in the beginning when we start the search process. As long as none of these conditions is met, we do the strategy in this way. So line number 478, we again take the top of the stack, we can say, or the first of the fringe, and apply the goal test of course as usual. And if the goal test is successful, that means the current state is a goal node, then solution is displayed, and we have seen how it is displayed earlier. So all this is the same code 482.501. And then comes the search part, which is the Proggen form, line numbers 502 to 522. This is the main search strategy part, in which again you will see much of it is for display purposes and bookkeeping. So now the heap remove front is a special method I have developed to handle the data structure. The list is actually organized as a heap, so it is a heap as well as a list. So heap formation is via a priority number. That means basically at a higher level, the parametric value, here we are talking of the heuristic estimate, is less than or equal to that of its children. That is how the heap property is maintained. Whereas in the list, that heap property means basically that the children of the ith node will be at 2i and 2i plus 1 positions. So usual implementation of a heap in a list or an array. And then the expansion is applied, but after expansion we also need to calculate the heuristic estimates for the added states. So that is what is done in this loop 509 to 520, and here basically there is also 521, 509 to 529, 521, 509 to 521, we have the loop that calculates the heuristic values and inserts the new states which are result of the expansion. Based on this calculated value, that is fn equal to gn plus hn, if you go back to the textbook and check what this means, then that fn value is used to insert these new states, each of them keeping the heap property. So this is heap insert and not just putting it at the head or at the tail of the fringe. So it's the typical up heap, bubbling, or down heap push, and depending upon the priority value, which is the fn value, and that is the we can say intelligence part. Basically the insertion itself is intelligent. Once that order is kept, then removing always the first, which is in line number 503, removing only the front, is the simple operation, but we have to call it as a heap remove front, not just a list remove, because once you remove the head of that, then you are basically removing the root of the tree. Now you have to bring something else in place of the root without disturbing the heap property. So that's the typical up heap bubbling again in 503. So the we can say the search part in which work is done is in line number 503, in line number 505, and the loop 509 to 521, including the 519 insertion in a heap. That is where the search work actually happens. So that's the strategy. Now let us look at the working of it. We will demonstrate. So again we start the Lisp. I think I will increase the font size better. I will loading the program now. And we start the A star. So initial state, again I will go to the textbook example. So let us look at the textbook example. Yeah, the textbook goal is this one. So we can use it as it is. Let us use that, because later on we will have to redo. So we'll say copy here, and instead of A star, let us set that as our goal. Okay, I am going to experiment with other goals as well. So let us look at this. In fact, we can give both the lines at once as our input. So I have different goals, and I'm going to tell you why I have set them. Then let us look at the, okay, where is the other textbook example? Initial state. Yeah, this is the initial state. It's a 26 move optional solution, sorry, optimal solution example, but 26 move only for the goal 1, when the goal is goal 1, then only. For others it may be different. So let us do that. Oh, I did it again. I didn't copy here. Textbook example. I'll copy, and I will say okay. So this is init 1, and then let us have the init 2. So another goal which has a 10 step solution, again for goal 1, that we will give, and then we will test. But here, instead of setting that as init state, I will say init 2, so that we'll remember. Okay, so now we have 3 goals and 2 initial states, and let us test our algorithm on all of them and for different heuristics. So A star, and then we give init 1 and goal 1, because these are the ones that we have been using even for the uninformed strategies earlier. So we look at that, and then we have okay, star. Yeah, here. So max depth and heuristic we have to give. So max depth will give at 30, because we already know that this has a 26 move solution for goal 1. And then the heuristic function, let us choose the heuristic function from amongst the ones available. So in the textbook they have given 2 heuristics mainly: taxi cab heuristic or Manhattan distance heuristic, and tile mismatch heuristic. Tile mismatch heuristic is basically how many tiles are not in their place according to the goal position, right? So these are the ones implemented here, and there is one more, which is Euclidean heuristic. Euclidean heuristic is basically calculating the distance as if they are xy coordinates, so the vector distance, we can say. Of course, the numbers will still be only integers, 1, 2, 3, each of the x and y coordinates. But then just for the sake of it, I have given that heuristic, and let us see. Watch the video so that you know which of these heuristics can be definitely guaranteed to be what we call, there is a term for heuristics that work for A star. Work means they guarantee an optimal solution for A star. I am just pausing here so that you recall that concept, the name of it in the textbook: admissible. So let us see whether the heuristics are admissible. So first let us demonstrate. So I will begin with the tile mismatch heuristic. Okay, because it is a function handle, it has to be hash coded. So the special characters are given for that. And now let us start. Well, it's going through these depths quite fast, faster than all the earlier uninformed strategies, if you remember. But after state 20, it looks like it is going slow. Sorry, after depth 20, it is going a bit slow, but still it is much faster. And the best f value is the fn value. that is gn plus hn value so far. So this fn cannot be greater than the actual optimal distance, which is 26 in our case, for the given initial state and goal. When that is reached, basically before that we have to find that is the algorithm will have found the solution. So we can see that the computation time is longer, but the number of nodes that are visited is in thousands, whereas earlier for all the strategies we saw it was in millions. Well, so while the computer is computing that, and definitely now to reach depth 26 and give the solution, and since 26 is the optimal solution, we are sure we will not get it at any shallower depth. So while the computer is at it, let us go back to the program and look at the heuristics. So if you want, I can quickly show you by calculations directly how these heuristics are admissible, but the main condition for any heuristic to be admissible is that it should not overestimate for any single state. So tile mismatch and taxicab are discussed in the textbook, so I will not separately discuss them. I am only looking at now the Euclidean heuristic. So you can see that the taxicab heuristic will take y and z. They are the coordinates, basically they are xy coordinates, but because I am using x for the variable that runs through the list, so that is x is used for the tile itself, so y and z are used, so let us call them as yz coordinates. Now these coordinates for the taxicab heuristic, if you see, they are just their deltas are added. Okay, for the current state and the goal state. Current state is S and goal state is goal state. So their deltas are just added. And now in the Euclidean heuristic, so here is the taxicab heuristic in which we just add absolute differences, of course. Delta means absolute delta of them, whereas here we add their squares, so the squares of the differences, again deltas. So now adding the absolute difference and then adding the squares and taking the square root of it, adding the squares and taking the square root of added squares. So basically say a plus b and under square root a square plus b square. If you have these two, then can you tell me definitely which one is dominating? That is, can we always say that they will have a certain relationship of inequality or equality? So if a and b are equal, then a plus b will be 2a, and a square plus b square will be 2a square. So definitely 2a square is less than 4a square, which is the square of 2a. So a square plus b square will be less, and the square root of that, so square root of a square plus b square will be less than 2a, because a square plus b square is less than the square of 2a. If a and b are not the same, then also a plus b bracket square is a square plus b square plus 2ab, whereas 2ab has to be positive, assuming that a and b are themselves positive or non-negative, they are 0 or positive. So in that case, again, a square plus b square has to be less than or equal to a plus b bracket square. So when you take the square root of it, it will be less than a plus b. What this means clearly is that the Euclidean heuristic estimate will always be less than the taxi cab heuristic estimate. So if the taxi cab heuristic is admissible, then the Euclidean heuristic will be admissible automatically, and Euclidean heuristic is then dominating because it is always less than or equal to the taxi cab heuristic. So I hope by now it has found a solution. No, it is 24 depth. It's taking a long time. So you can see that the number of nodes is far less still. It is about 10% of what we did watch for the uninformed strategies. But the time taken for calculations is much more. That is because of the calculations of the heuristic and then the heap adjustment. So when you are making a heap of so many nodes, then even the log n will be again so many operations each time, because heap each time you remove a node or add a node to the heap, the maximum number of operations in the worst case needed will be proportional to log n, where n is the number of nodes in the heap. So when it comes to like 100,000 and more, then that log will be high. The log will be with the base 2. So you can see that for 1000 the log is about log to the base 2 is about 10, and for 1 million it is about 20. So when it comes to 100,000 it will be somewhere 14 or so. So again we have been waiting, so I will pause the video and again restart it. Now the solution is found after a long time, and it is a 26 Mo solution. Of course it has to be an optimal solution, so it is a 26 Mo solution. And once it is depicted here, I will again scroll up and show you the number of nodes needed. So you can see that we had paused the video at depth 23. After that 3 more depths were explored, and the number of states examined were, so from that place at which we had paused, it has explored about 3 times more. Yeah, actually it was 129, 166 for depth 24. I think we paused. After that it has done some 200,000 more nodes, and the current fringe is 135,000. Yeah. So, and it took a long time. That is, in terms of real time, it took a long time. But you can see that the number of nodes explored is still are far less than what we have explored earlier for both breadth first search as well as the different IDS also. The total number of nodes explored even at the last depth limit, they were much more than this, and now we can see the solution. So we assess basically the performance or the time complexity in terms of number of nodes visited, not by the real time calculations. It is possible that because I am using Lisp, the calculations for the heuristic and the heap manipulation of heap bubbling and all, that took a longer time, because ultimately the storage structure is list, not an array, whereas in C, for example, this could have been much faster. But that is not the issue here. What we are looking for is the properties of the strategy, search strategy, and not the computer or its implementation. So we can see that the search did take less time complexity. In time complexity I am saying, not less real time, but less number of nodes were searched, and then this solution is 26 Mo solution, which is an optimal solution. Okay, In the final list, you can see last number 25, which is the heuristic function value, but then fn equal to gn plus hn, gn is 25 and fn is 0, sorry, hn is 0, because when you have a goal node, the estimate distance has to be 0, the heuristic is admissible, so it cannot overestimate. Now let us do the same for another heuristic, which is our taxi cab. Let us see if it takes again a long time, then we will pause the video and carry on. You can see that now this is going much faster, isn't it? Level 20, 23, 24, it was, oh, solution is found. And you can see the number of states explored is much less. So even though the depth is indeed 24 and 20, it has to reach 26, because otherwise the solution will not be found. But you can see that it found it so quickly. So I didn't make you wait, but I assure you that I waited I think the larger part of half an hour earlier for the tile mismatch heuristic in between, that is between the levels 23, 24 to 26, the final solution level. It took that much time, a long time, whereas here everything is done in a jiffy, and you can see that the solution is already found. So this is where the difference between heuristics matters, and this is a complete visual demonstration. I am going to give you my program. I am uploading it on the course page, so you can see it for yourselves with different initial states and all. In fact, I am in the program, you will also find one test routine which does test for the same different initial states, different strategies, informed and uninformed both. So that's a better description of how it is happening, and you can even leave that program running in a terminal and collect the full transcript, whatever is happening. You can collect all of that into a text file and examine it at leisure later. You don't have to wait interactively. So then you can actually see the difference between different heuristics, and you have to also see the term dominating in the textbook. In the textbook, basically it says that if a heuristic estimate, that is the estimate made by a heuristic, is consistently less than or equal to and never greater than another heuristic, then this first heuristic is dominating. Dominating in the sense that because it is consistently not less than or equal to, but greater than or equal to, greater than or equal to that first heuristic. No, sorry. Okay, I will rephrase again. So if the heuristic estimate made by, say, H1 heuristic is consistently greater than or equal to another heuristic H2, the estimate made by H2, consistently means for every node it will never be less than H2. H1 is never less than H2, and H1 and H2 both are admissible. Then H1 dominates, and not only that, H1 will surely find the solution faster than H2. How? Because both the heuristics are admissible, then each of them is not overestimating, right? They are not overestimating. That means that the estimated value will always be less than or equal to the actual value of the distance of the current node to an optimal goal node. And so let us suppose the optimal goal node distance for a given node is, say, x. Then in that case, h1 will be less than or equal to x, h2 will be less than or equal to x. But now we know that h1 is greater than or equal to h2. So the relationship will be h2 is less than or equal to h1 is less than or equal to x. So h1 will be closer to x. h1 will be more realistic estimate. Definitely then it is like it is going to search the optimal path faster. It is going to find the optimal path faster. If, say, h2 equal to x always, that is in fact h1 equal to x, if we have a heuristic that it's not just an estimate, but it is exactly computing the number of steps needed for any given node to a goal node, an optimal goal node. Even though the goal node is not already found, there is some way you can always get the exact remaining number of steps. If that is there, then definitely you will search much faster, and in fact you can use a greedy strategy directly there. Okay, you don't have to even combine Gn and Hn as we do in A star. So now that this much demonstration is done, I will just try the third heuristic, which is not there in the textbook. These two heuristics are in the textbook. Then I argued that Euclidean heuristic will be admissible because it will be less than or equal to the taxi cab heuristic. But you can see that Euclidean heuristic, what will be its relationship with the tile mismatch heuristic, in which you only count the number of tiles that are not in its place. So you can see that there is no consistent relationship there, perhaps. But let us see what happens to this particular example only. So okay, now because it is Euclidean, the numbers are coming as fractions also, and you can see that it is calculated faster, even though there is a square root calculation. You can see that the number of nodes at level 24 is much less. You already had seen that the number of nodes, okay, the solution is found. See, so at least for the example that we took, the tile mismatch heuristic took much longer, and also in terms of time complexity, that is the number of nodes searched, it was the worst, whereas taxi cab heuristic was the best, and Euclidean distance is not too far away. It is not much worse than taxi cab. I will again help you compare the numbers. So 40608 is the total number of nodes searched by this heuristic, and the current fringe is 16,000. 40,000, 16,000, and 2.5 times is the ratio current fringe. So, 1.5 times the current fringe. Those nodes were explored and completely expanded but discarded, right? And now let us look at the same parameters for the taxi cab heuristic. Now you can see that 22,000, so about half the nodes than the Euclidean heuristic, and the current fringe is also about half. Okay, so there is some relationship between the two heuristics surely, and we can safely say that Euclidean heuristic will be say half as fast as, or takes twice as much time as taxi cab heuristic. You can also see that the time taken for calculations is more dependent on the number of nodes in the current fringe than anything else. It not on the particular calculations that are done for the heuristic, but how many times the calculations have to be made. It's dependent on the number of nodes in the current fringe, and so Euclidean heuristic gave us both in terms of time complexity as well as run time, actual real run time. It performed reasonably well, even though it is not as good as the taxi cab heuristic, and in terms of numbers we can see the performance is worse by a factor of 2. Still it was quite good compared to the tile mismatch heuristic. So I will stop this discussion on A star strategy now, and then we can resume when we discuss those local search heuristics later.